sweat. Most of y'all might be started right now. Hey, Shalom, Israel. This is the Israelite School, Universal Practical Knowledge, started out at 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General Yohana. I'm Priest and Officer Tapazar. This is the ISUPK Killeen Brotherhood class. Go ahead and clap it up. I'm going to go ahead and give a courtesy salute. You know what I mean? Shalom, Yahweh, Bashem, Yahweh, Shad, Barakathon to the brothers. And Shalom, Yahweh, Shemal, Atham, Bashem, Yahweh, Shad to the sisters, man. Understand? Today's brotherhood class is called "Who is Your Neighbor?" Right? And you know, living in America, man. You know, America as a society, you know, they, its foundation is built upon the idea that of diversity, right? And but typically, like when it comes to like the workforce or job placement, you understand that word diversity is thrown around a lot. You know what I mean? Meaning that we have a diverse, set of people, but or different, cultures and ethnicities and whatnot in a workplace. But America itself was built off of diversity. But the problem with that, and the problem with buying into that concept is that where the diversity would matter at, you understand, it doesn't occur at. Meaning that when it comes to power, there's no diversity. You understand? The scriptures say in Job that the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. You understand? The power resides with one people. You understand? Or other peoples. You understand? The power is diverse amongst our oppressor and the other nations. But there is no diversity of power when it comes to blacks, Hispanics, and Armenians, man. The only diversity that you see with our people is that we're diversely, enslaved, or we're diversely oppressed. You understand? Meaning our people, experience, the police brutality, the low income housing, the poverty. You understand? The drugs in our community, the prostitution, the poor health care, being number one in all types of diseases and ailments, right? But because of Christianity and the lies of Christianity, because, the idea that God, loves everybody, that Christ died to give salvation to everybody, it's a diversity mindset. But what we're going to do right now, man, is get into the definition of what diversity is. And, I found some interesting things, man, when looking up this definition of diversity, right? So let's go ahead, and this is the Oxford definition of diversity, okay? The first definition is it's the state of being diverse or variety, meaning like, if you got like you get up for breakfast, you might have oatmeal, eggs, some orange juice, some fruit. It's diverse items, right? Okay. Or a range of different things. That's the next sub definition. The next definition is the practice or quality of including or involving people from a range of different social and ethnic backgrounds and of different genders and sexual orientations. Now, that definition right there sounds like America. You understand? It sounds like the society that our oppressor has built for us here in this hell we call America, right? I'm gonna read it again. The quality of involving and including people from a range of different social and ethnic backgrounds and of different genders and sexual orientations. But now, go ahead, Art. Right? You kind of coming in choppy, Art. Salakia. Yeah, you kind of coming in choppy. Go ahead. Yeah, that's way better. Go ahead. Right, right. Most High in Christ. You kind of still in the matrix, Doc. But yeah, so the brother Officer Masha out of Atlanta, we're gonna go ahead and give him a hand. You know what I'm saying? Mighty officer out of ISUPK Atlanta. He said that he was in a room with Captain Kaptazar, where Captain Kaptazar was saying that America doesn't only respect its enemies, it doesn't respect its slaves. You understand? And and it's heavy because we think that slavery has ended because of diversity, right? Like diversity in the workforce, diversity in neighborhoods or housing, it makes us believe that everybody's on equal footing. You understand? But what we don't understand is that the idea of diversity, it turns us against our power, man. You understand? Now let me go ahead and continue to read this definition of diversity, right? In the original Latin, the word is diversitas, right? And what it means is it's an old word, Latin word that means to turn aside. Diversity, it comes from the root word diversitas, which means to turn aside. Now, let's see what the Lord says about us turning aside. Now, and before I get into some precepts about this term turning aside, you know, we have to ask ourselves the question: what has America turned blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians aside from? You understand? If we just deal with it on a practical level, when our oppressors brought us from the west coast of Africa to America, they turned us aside from each other, right? On the plantations, they immediately set up a, quote unquote, class system to separate us from each other. They turned the light skinned black, you know what I'm saying, from the dark skinned black. They created the concept of the house nigga and the field nigga. You understand? Pitting the old against the young, pitting the strong against the strong. That's when you had those Mandingo fights, which really is what produced boxing, modern day boxing today. You understand? That's why the majority of fighters in boxing are blacks and Hispanics. You have a few, you know what I mean, Europeans, Russians, or what have you, but the majority of who occupies the sport of boxing is blacks and Hispanics. Even when you come down to basketball or football, they learned early to pit us against each other, to turn us aside from each other. You understand? And now that, you know what I'm saying, quote unquote, we are free from chattel slavery, they promote the idea of diversity, that America is stronger by having a diverse range of ethnic groups, social groups, right? And, different sexual orientations. When it comes to the children of Israel, the 12 tribes, you know what I'm saying? Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, diversity is what's destroying us, okay? Because it turns us aside. We're gonna go to yeah, go ahead, Art. Uh-huh. Right. Right. That's right. That's right. No, facts, man. Most High in Christ, man, and and it's heavy too because even in like the financial world, you know what I'm saying, like the stock market, or if you like, for y'all that are career orientated, have careers. A lot of times your job or profession will provide you with a 401k plan, right? And that's where you invest, your money gets invested into different, like, stock indexes, or like or retirement plans, right? And they'll give you the option to do what? Diversify your portfolio. It's investing your income in various investment vehicles, right? Or instruments, right? And they give you the idea that you being diversified is going to give you more strength, right? But like I said earlier, the diversity of America is the diversity of Egypt. And what do I mean by that? It's a pyramid scheme, right? At the bottom of the pyramid, it's very diverse, right? You have blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. We're diverse in the blue collar labor force, and even to a degree, you have some representation of us in the corporate world, right? But it's always in positions that never give us any power. You understand? When you get to the top of the pyramid, when you get to the top of Egypt, you might find one or two. You understand? There's no diversity at the top. Why? Because power is never shared. It's only transferred, man. You understand? America does not want to diversify its power base. It only wants to diversify its slave labor force. That's it. Because they want to keep the heaven that they built, and the heaven that they built and developed. They want to make sure that it's kept in place by what? Diversifying the slaves. We want to make sure that we keep a steady flow of slaves and a steady flow of weak people that buy into our diversity, right? To keep them without power and to keep us in power, man. You understand? But like I said, at the Latin root word for diversity is diversitas, which means to turn aside. So we're going to go to the book of Deuteronomy, right? Chapter 5, verse 32. And it reads, "You shall observe to do therefore as the Lord your God hath commanded you." Right? Because the question is what has America turned blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians aside from? Right? What the Lord has commanded us. Let's keep reading. "You shall observe to do therefore as the Lord your God hath commanded you. Ye shall not turn aside to the right hand nor to the left." America's diversity, it came as a veil of, we want to include everybody, right? But in that inclusion, they have excluded you from your power, from your God. You understand? Because now when you deal with inclusion, what can you leave out? You understand? The Lord said in Deuteronomy 7:6 that we are a holy people unto the Most High, our power. The Lord our God has chosen us to be a special people unto himself. You understand? See, the Lord is not dealing with diversity, man. You understand? The Lord is not dealing with inclusion. The Lord is dealing with segregation. You understand? He said that we are a special people unto himself. He didn't include everybody. You understand? And above all people that are upon the face of the earth. You understand? And the problem with diversity is diversity has now put us in a position where we look at every racial group, every ethnic group as our neighbor. You understand? We look at everybody as family. We look at everybody as our neighbor. You understand? And in that, we're giving our love to everybody. And the love that we're giving to everybody is destroying us as a people, man. Because why? No, go ahead, Art. Go ahead, Art. That's a fact. The Christian church has destroyed black people. Right? Right. That's right. They are. Yeah, no, I definitely, man. Right. And no, damn right. And to that brother's point, he's saying that in our neighborhoods and you know what I'm saying, in the places that in the environments that we grow up in, it's destroyed. So why would he ask the question? Why would you want to be included in what they got going on, right? Why would you seek inclusion? But I'm gonna tell you why, brother. I'm gonna tell you why. Because we look to the other nations for inspiration, right? You know, there was a clubhouse room today where they were saying is America racist, dealing with racism or classism? And the majority of the people in the room said it was more classism than racism, which, you know, from the standpoint of the ISUPK, racism is the foundation of America and its power. You understand? Especially against blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, man. You understand? But the idea of diversity is when you look at, you know, immigrants come to America, they get vouchers and visas and assistance. You know what I'm saying? And even if they don't, even if they come here and don't get assistance, they still are not viewed as blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians are viewed. You understand? They still, if they do levels of discrimination, it's not to the extent that blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians deal with discrimination. You understand? And they come here and, you know, quote unquote, pull themselves up by the bootstraps, right? And they achieve, success in America. And then they look at our people and they say, well, what's your problem? Where I come from is completely impoverished. We live in mud huts. And we come here and we take all the opportunities and we succeed. What's your problem? Not understanding that for and then have the audacity to call us lazy. Not understanding that for 400 years, there wasn't a black, Hispanic, or Native Indian that had a lazy bone in their body because we were working from sun up to no sun, slaving without wages, man, for free, building up this country, man. You understand? And there was no diversity in that slave labor force. It was just blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, man. You understand? They had the nerve to try to compare the Irish, who were dealing with indentured servitude, you understand, for a period of 7 years. And then they were released. As opposed to chattel slavery, man. Where when I worked for 15, 20 years as a slave on Mr. Johnson's plantation, he could sell my wife and kids off to Mr. Williams. You understand? And sell me off, you understand, to Mr. Jenkins. You understand? We never achieved freedom. You understand? And even when the Emancipation Proclamation got signed, you understand? Because what people don't know, the Emancipation Proclamation was only signed for the South. It didn't free slaves in the North. Y'all, I bet y'all ain't even aware of that. It was only assigned to the South because Abraham Lincoln didn't want the South, because the South was generating so much wealth. They were in a position to separate and basically go to war with the North. So Abraham Lincoln was only trying to stop it in the South to cut off their economic engine. You understand? Our industry. That was it, man. You understand? And then even when we got released, and we were the skilled trade workers, and we came out of slavery and built our communities and built our cities. What did the oppressor do? Did he leave us to our own devices? You understand? Did he show love to his neighbor? No, man. You had the Black Wall Street massacre, man. You had the Rosewood massacre, man. You had the Ocala, Florida massacre, man. You understand? And countless other massacres. You understand? Where they would see blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians doing well for themselves and coming together, and because they were sitting on their butts for 400 years doing nothing, but it's like what you see right now. When you go to a work site, you see blacks and Hispanics on a work site, and you see what? You see one white manager managing 20 to 30 skilled workers, man. He has a clipboard, and he has the schematics or whatever, you know what I'm saying, marching orders, and he's handing out the orders to our people, man. But he's doing none of the work. So of course, when the Great Depression hit in the 1930s, you had blacks that were doing well. Why? Because in the worst conditions, we were turning nothing into something, man, for his benefit. So of course we were able to apply those skills to ourselves. You understand? But he had no skills. You understand? Just like right now, man. When you see the streets getting paved with concrete, when you see the roofs getting put on houses, you understand? When you see the luggage getting transferred, the garbage trucks, it's blacks and Hispanics that keep the city going, man. They keep the nation going. We were the essential workers during the COVID plague and crisis. We were the ones still going to work, being exposed, you know what I'm saying, to that virus. You understand? And still kept America going, man. While the rest of our oppressors hid in their houses with masks on, man. And what did the oppressor do? He built remote jobs to be able to keep the economy going, right? To keep them in position to earn income. But told us to go out there in the streets and get back to work, man. That's diversity for you, man. But we suffer these things because why? The diversity that we buy into, it causes us to turn aside from the Most High and to turn aside from our people, man. To turn aside from each other. Let's keep reading. Let's go to Deuteronomy 11 and 16. It says, take heed to yourselves that your heart, and in the scriptures, the heart is not the four-chambered organ in your chest that pumps blood throughout your body. You understand? The heart in the scriptures is the mind, right? Because in the mind is where all the decisions are made. It's where all the theories are developed. It's where all the orders are given. It's in the mind. If you control the mind, then you control everything else. You understand? The Lord said, take heed to yourselves that your heart be not deceived. We have been deceived by the diversity of America, man. We have been deceived by the idea of integration and inclusion, man. You understand? Us buying into diversity has diluted our strength. You understand? It's like when you pour you a glass of scotch or a glass of strong and you mingle it. It don't have the same strength as a straight shot. You understand? In the ISUPK, under Commander General Yohana, he's giving you strictly strength. He's trying to restore strength to the black man, to the Hispanic man, to the Native Indian man. And by Commander General Yohana, under Christ, giving us the spirit of the strength of the Most High, that is restoring and strengthening the black family, the Hispanic family, and the Native Indian family, man. You understand? We just gotta fall away from the idea of diversity. We have to separate ourselves from the idea of being involved with everybody else, man. Okay? Deuteronomy 11 and 16. Take heed to yourselves that your heart be not deceived, and ye turn aside and serve other gods. That's what diversity has gotten us here in America, man. We've turned aside from the Most High. We've turned aside from the laws, statutes, and commandments. We've turned aside from brotherhood. We've turned aside from loving each other. And now we've given our love to the people who do not seek our welfare, who do not seek to put us in positions of power to strengthen our families, man. I mean, we just seen that, right? With Clarence Thomas, the Supreme Court judge, man. The very program that put him into a seat of power as a Supreme Court justice, he was he handed in one of the votes to repeal affirmative action from institutions of higher learning. You understand? The very program that put him in power, he gets in, right? And then he closes the door on the rest of his people, man. You understand? Now look, in the Supreme Court, you have diversity. You have a Hispanic woman on the Supreme Court. You have a black man on the Supreme Court. And the rest are white Supreme Court justices, man. So look, you have diversity in the judicial branch of government in America. And look what that diversity has accomplished. Nothing. You understand? Affirmative action has been repealed, man. You understand? And the truth of the matter is that diversity only strengthens America because it keeps us without power and it gives them the power by taking our resources and taking our creativity and our strength for the benefit of this kingdom. But what the Lord and Christ wants us to do is to fall away and leave diversity, to leave Christianity, which teaches you to love everybody and to give your strength to everybody and to show love to everybody. He wants us to do something different, man. You understand? Let's go to Salakia. Let me see. Let's go to the book of. Let's go to the book of John, chapter 13, verse 34 and 35, man. You understand? Because see, the thing is, man, is that we have forgotten, you know what I'm saying, ourselves. We've forgotten who we are. We've forgotten, you know what I'm saying, who our king is. We've forgotten who our power is. You understand? And that's why the ISUPK or the Command General Yohana is so vital and important in these last days. Because the ISUPK or the Command General Yohana, the priests and prophets, are telling our people to remember the old ways, to go back to the old paths. See, America is always talking about innovation, diversity, you know what I'm saying, progressiveness, right? And all this progression and progressiveness and new ideas and concepts, it hasn't changed anything for our communities and our neighborhoods, man. You know what I'm saying? It's still, we're still number one in single parent households. You understand? Our women are initiating divorces, you know what I'm saying, at 80%. You understand? The black family is destroyed. You understand? I saw a podcast where a sister was talking about how she feels like choosing to be a single mother is suicide because you're dying and you don't have a life anymore. And you bear all the responsibility, and I always say to myself, the ideal thing is for the black family to be united and together, but a lot of the times, man, it's all, the issue that a lot of our women have is about why they leave, supposedly, you know what I'm saying? They say the number one issue is finances and then, infidelity or cheating. When if we went back to our culture, we would understand that concept of cheating is a figment of the imagination, that a man can have more than one woman. You understand? If you could put your ego to the side and your pride to the side and, and think about the children and the family unit, you understand? And placing emphasis and priority on that instead of, putting a priority on your individualism. I don't want to change as a person. I don't want to lose my identity. You understand? See, the Lord gave us our identity as a people, as a nation. America gives you your identity as an individual. You understand? And then tells you as an individual to love everybody. Well, then you have no network. You have no community. You have no sense of investment outside of yourself. So if America teaches the pursuit of happiness for the individual, it's automatically going to breed a selfish person, man. And a selfish person can't contribute to nation building when all you can think about is yourself. You understand? Go ahead, Art. Right? You in the Matrix, Art. Yeah, yeah. You said a man killed his wife because he found out all of his kids weren't his. Okay. That's heavy, man. What the brother said is that a lot of our women believe in having multiple men, but they don't believe in men having multiple women. Meaning that you have a sister who has three baby daddies. She has no problem with acquiring another one or acquiring a stepfather, right? But let a man say, I'm gonna have more than one woman and all hell breaks loose. That's a fact, Doc. You understand? Look, they don't mind diversity of husbands. You know what I'm saying? They don't mind diversity of husbands, but they don't want they husband to have a diversity of wives. And that's fine. You know what I'm saying? Everybody has a choice, man. America gives you liberty. Christ is offering us freedom. And the freedom that Christ is offering us is the truth. He said, you shall know the truth and the truth will make you free. But see, what America gives you is liberty. You have the liberty to be a homosexual, to be a lesbian, to be a polyandrous, which is a woman who has more than one husband. I think that there's a show out right now with the woman. She has a podcast and she has 3 husbands or something like that. And they have a podcast, which to me that's just gay. You know what I'm saying? It's gay for a man to lay with the woman who has a man. You're running up behind another man, and all of his. I'm not even gonna get into all that, man. But to me, that's homosexual. But the main thing is it's diverse. It's diversity. It's turning us aside from what the culture that the Most High gave blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, man. It's turning us aside from that. You understand? And Salaki, let me get back to this scripture real quick. The book of John, chapter 13, verse 34 through 35. You know what I'm saying? This is Christ talking, man. You know what I'm saying? This is our King, Yahweh Shah Hamashiach, man. You know what I mean? This is what he had to say. He says, a new commandment I give unto you. You understand? That you love one another. Now, my thing is that I find it odd that Christ said, I give you a new commandment. You understand? Because nothing that Christ gave was really new, man. You understand? Christ, let me say it like this. Christ is saying it's a new commandment because we forgot the old commandment. You understand? It's new to us because we've been raised and groomed in diversity. You understand? So Christ is coming to the Israelites under Roman occupation, right? Where they have the Pharisees and Sadducees and the religious leaders of our time who are in league with the Romans. They're in league with Pilate. You understand? And the Roman government, man, to try to manage our people living in poverty. You understand? And living in Jerusalem and Judea and Galilee and Caesarea. You understand? They're having to manage us. So all we know is diversity, which is the Romans and these different ethnicities, you know what I'm saying, the Samaritans and the Syrophoenicians coming into our land, trading, bringing in their businesses, much like right now. How in our hoods and projects, you have the Arabs with the goddamn liquor stores, you know what I'm saying, selling the ketamine and the K2 out the liquor store and selling us the blunts and the liquor and the cigarettes. You understand? And you know what I mean, the Newports, the Black and Miles, you understand? The quarter waters, the grape drink. You know what I mean? The goddamn Tahitian treats with the red dye number 5, yellow dye number 20. You understand? Selling us the pork rinds, right? If you in Philly, the 4-piece wings and fried rice at 1 and 2 in the morning. Jersey, the same thing, man. You understand? You got the goddamn Chinese hair shops selling us our hair products. You understand? To us, the hair bundles. You know what I mean? You got the goddamn white man with his dollar stores and his bank loan and his loan his American loan businesses in our neighborhoods, selling us our guns in our neighborhoods. Listen, man. When you leave the projects, you leave the environment and go to the suburbs, you don't see that stuff in their neighborhoods. You don't see gun stores in the middle of their neighborhoods or liquor stores in the middle of their neighborhoods. You have to go downtown to the shopping district. But they don't mind planting that stuff in our neighborhoods. Why? Because they feed off of our people, man. We are food and meat to the beasts of the field. The Lord calls the other nations the beasts of the field, man. And we're the sheep of his pasture. And they feed off of us, man. You understand? And our leadership is complicit and plays a part in that. Why? Because they teach us that everybody is our neighbor. When that's not what Christ said, man. Christ had to come to the Israelites, to the 12 tribes, and tell them, I'm giving you a new commandment. Because clearly you don't remember the first commandment. A new commandment I give unto you, that you love one another as I have loved you. And how did Christ love so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, man? How did Christ love the Israelites? How did Christ love the 12 tribes, man? He laid down his life for us, man. The scriptures say that Christ died while we were yet sinners, man. While we were yet in ignorance and in darkness, hating each other, like how we are right now, living in America, shooting each other down, you know what I'm saying? Selling each other drugs, pimping out our women, prostituting our women, you understand? Encouraging our women to have OnlyFans. You know what I'm saying? You brothers who take your woman and get an OnlyFans channel for her to make money and have and you over there doing the act of marriage, because sex is marriage, on video, and letting other men and women see that and trying to profit off of that. You're pimping out your woman. You're a whoremonger. That's what a whoremonger is. A monger is a merchant of business. You're in the business of whoring out your woman for profit. You're a whoremonger, and you've made your woman a whore. And the scriptures say that there shall be no prostitutes of the daughters of Israel, man. Black and Hispanic and Native Indian women were not made to be bottle girls, to be strippers. You understand? To be on Instagram dressed up in lingerie. We have whored ourselves out because why? All we care about is diversity, man. Diversity. We want to, I gotta represent myself and express myself how I feel. All you're expressing is that you're a fool. A foolish woman and a foolish man. That's all we're expressing ourselves as being foolish, and we're naked before these nations, man. We made ourselves naked, man. And we made ourselves naked to the Most High. And the craziest part about it is, man, is that this love, you know what I'm saying? Like I seen a video of what's her name, Sukiana, and she was out in England, and she's walking by, you know what I mean, these two white women, and I used to live in the UK, man. You know what I'm saying? My parents was military, so I was out in the UK for a while. I stayed in Suffolk County. You know what I'm saying? I left when I was like around like maybe 5 or 6 years old, or 7 maybe. We came to Cali in '85, but anyways, in the UK, at least with the older generation, I don't know what's going on right now with the younger, you know what I'm saying, people that live in the UK. And I'm talking about the Caucasians, the oppressors. They had a level of what you want to call it, man, like arrogance, or like I'm not going to use the word dignity, but like imagine like the royal family, like how they feel like like they're better than the regular people of England, right? You know what I'm saying? Like we're the royal. That's how the English over there would conduct themselves. So it's like an older white woman, and Sukiana is walking past them, going into an Uber or something like that, and she's talking about how she's looking to eat some niggas, I ain't gonna say it, eat a nigga's booty and get ate out. We looking for niggas to eat their booty out, and she's saying it all proud, man. And I'm thinking to myself, this woman is an Israelite. You understand? Most likely from the tribe of Judah, most likely. And she's a princess of Zion, and she is debasing herself before our enemies, man. You understand? And thinking that that's where her dignity derives from, man. You understand? The ISUPK and the Command General Yohana, man, is the only organization teaching our women righteousness and what it means to be a princess again, man. You understand? The scriptures say that at one time, their feet wouldn't even light it upon the ground, meaning that our women were being carried around by the heathens. Like we wouldn't even allow their feet to touch the concrete. I understand, sisters, why you feel like you want to call yourselves queens and boss chicks, because deep down inside of your spirit, you know that you are royalty. You understand? But you don't gain that esteem by being a whore. You don't gain that esteem by giving your box or your body to these other nations. A lot of y'all feel like because you get with a white man that you've achieved something in society. And yes, our brothers do it too. You know what I'm saying? A nigga get a $10 million contract, and the first thing he do is leave his woman and go get a white girl. It's on both sides. But we don't achieve nobility or notoriety, you know what I'm saying, by getting with the other nations, man. What we're really doing is whoredom, because the scriptures say us sleeping with these other people, these other races, is horrible. You understand? And what it comes down to is who is my neighbor? Who is my neighbor? Who are we supposed to be loving and giving our love to, man? You understand? And it's deep to me too, because for Sukiana, she feel like eating a brother's booty is love. Sis, you ain't gotta do that, man. You understand? That's what toilet paper and wet wipes is for, man. Salakia. You know what I'm saying? Now, what you do in your bedroom is up to y'all, man. But even if you choose to do that nonsense, that madness, why are you putting that out into the public forum for? Why do everybody gotta know what's going on behind closed doors with you and your woman, man? Or you and your husband, your man? You know what I'm saying? Being a queen is being a prostitute. There ain't no queens in the nation of Israel, man. Understand? We have princesses in the nation of Israel, man. And there ain't no, listen, and we ain't got no kings neither. We have one king. Christ is our king. And for you brothers out there that be trying to say, what up, king? Shalom, king. Look, man, to me, that's like a nigga telling that to a woman saying, yo, what up, queen? What up, queen? Listen, don't call me king. All I gotta be is your brother, man. That's it. We could be, we brothers, man. It's one king, Christ. Christ died for our people. He earned that crown, man. If we endure to the end and Christ gives you a crown, then you can say Shalom King. Until that happens, man, and there's a crown on your head, man, I don't need to hear that. I could just be your brother. That's enough, man. Because brotherhood is a weapon. To me, in this hell that we living in, being a brother is more important than being the king right now, man. How about you just be a brother to your people, a brother to your brother, a brother to your sister? How about we just start there as family again? Instead of trying to anoint ourselves and commend ourselves and praise ourselves. The scriptures say, let another man's lips praise you and not your own, man. We want to call ourselves kings and queens. What have we conquered? What are we ruling over, man? We don't even rule over our own spirits. And I'm going to tell you like this. You can't rule over your own spirit unless you got these laws, statutes, and commandments, and you have the power of brotherhood, man. You understand? Salakia. Let me get back to this scripture, man. John 13, 34 and 35. A new commandment I give unto you, that you love one another, as I have loved you, that you also love one another. By this shall all men know that you are my disciples, if you have love one to another. A lot of Christians call themselves, they say I'm a Christian. To be a Christian means to follow Christ. But you know what I'm saying? We don't see that love. We don't see that love for our people, man, in the Christian church. The Christian church is the opposite of love, man. The Christian church is filled with hate. You understand? It's a church on every 3 blocks, man. Every 8 blocks you got a Christian church, man. And on your way to get to these churches, you know what I'm saying, in a 20 block radius, what are you gonna see in between these churches? You're gonna see blacks, Hispanics, homeless in the street. Right by the church, you're gonna have blacks and Hispanics sleeping in cardboard boxes in the alley, or on the corner, or with a shopping cart filled with just whatever. You understand? You're gonna see drugs getting sold. You're gonna see drive-bys happening, taking place, shootouts. You understand? You're gonna see people drunk. You know what I'm saying? Or on crack or on fentanyl, heroin. You're gonna see our sisters on the corner selling their bodies. So where is the love from the Christian church, man? If the Christian church has the love of Christ and the love of God, how is that being translated or being transferred to the people to affect any kind of change in our communities, man? But they tell us to love everybody, to love your neighbor. The Christian church teaches blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians that our neighbor is the person that's living next to us. Well, let's see what Christ said, man. You understand? Let's go to we're gonna go to Luke chapter 10. All right, Luke chapter 10. We're gonna get into this, man. Diversity. To turn aside, man. America wants to turn aside our people from following the Most High. You know what I mean? And you say, Officer Tapazar, how are they doing this with their holidays, with their culture? You understand? For you to celebrate July 4th, I mean, we're not even out of July yet. If you celebrated July 4th and you wore an American flag like on your shorts or your T-shirt or your bucket hat or on your your dad cap or whatever, or you had on a July 4th American flag swimsuit at some beach party or pool party, then you have turned aside from your people, man. For you to celebrate July 4th, the quote unquote freedom and liberation of America from England, you understand? And you've turned aside from your people because you know full well in 1776, your people was on plantations in the cotton fields picking cotton. You understand? But you have to enjoy the diversity of this society, right? You got to celebrate Christmas. You got to put up that Christmas tree in your house, that God in your house, and put the gifts under the tree to, give gifts to that God. You understand? And it's deep, man, because America sets up its wicked customs, and you know what I'm saying? It's celebrations and holidays, and every culture, despite whatever their religion is that they left from, you know what I'm saying? I've seen Hindus celebrating Christmas. I've seen Muslims celebrating Christmas. You know what I'm saying? I've seen the Chinese celebrate Christmas, and they have their own cultures in it from their own societies. But they come here and they embrace what? The diversity, man. America takes everybody that comes here and turns them into something else. You know what I mean? They turn them into what they want them to be. But the Lord told us to be holy, man. And that word holy means to be separate. You understand? We're to be separate in something different than what everybody else is doing, man. You know what I'm saying? The Lord our God is one. And we're supposed to be one. Of the same mind, the same judgment. You understand? You understand? We're not supposed to be diverse. We're supposed to be unified under the same culture, thinking the same way, doing the same things, and moving together. But us being diverse, to make it practical, we're scattered. That's what the scriptures say, that we will be scattered amongst the heathen. America's diversity is us being scattered amongst the heathen, man. You understand? As sheep with no shepherd. That's why Christ is telling us to gather ourselves together as a nation that's not desired. You understand? To gather ourselves together, man. And to know who our neighbor is. All right, man. Luke chapter 10. Luke chapter 10. Salakia. Verse 25. All right. And it says, this is the book of Luke chapter 10, verse 25. And behold, a certain lawyer stood up. Now, at this time, if you was a lawyer, you understand, you was studying the law. So this is a man who studies the law that's coming to, ask Christ a question, right? And he says, and behold, a certain lawyer stood up and tempted him, saying, Master, what shall I do to inherit eternal life? Now, you got to understand, man, this lawyer is living in the same conditions that we're living in right now. Under Roman occupation, right? You're in your own city, your own land, but you got the oppressor telling you, setting the rules and dictating how you live in your neighborhood, in your city, in your country. You know what I mean? But he's reading in the law about eternal life. And he's asking Christ, well, how do I achieve this eternal life? Right? How do I inherit it? Christ said unto him, what is written in the law? You a lawyer, right? So what's written in the law? You study the law, you a lawyer. What's in the law? How readest thou? Christ was wise, man. He was subtle. How do you read it? It's a lot of people on Clubhouse, you know what I'm saying, reading the law, reading the scriptures, reading the Bible. And everybody's an expert. You understand? But for you to understand the spirit of the law, you can only get that from Christ, man. You understand? You have to have the spirit of Christ to understand the spirit of the law. You knowing the timelines and the chronology and the dates of certain set events, yeah, that's good and everything. Getting knowledge is good, but the Pharisees knew the law. The Sadducees knew the law. But just because you know the law don't mean that you know the spirit of Christ, or you have the spirit of Christ. And the spirit of Christ is brotherhood, man. That's what all this is about. That's what all this is about, is brotherhood. You understand? But Christ asked this brother, well, how do you read it? What's written in the law? You tell me, right? Verse 27, and he answering said, thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy strength, and with all thy mind. And you know, Christians, they love that scripture, right? You got to love the Lord your God with all your soul and all your heart and all your mind and all your strength. You know what I mean? And that's an easy thing to say, right? I love God. It's an easy thing to say because why? You ain't got to prove it. You ain't got to prove it. Because the only way that you can prove it is in the next scripture. You know what I mean? And then it says, and thy neighbor as thyself. The only way for you to prove that you love the Most High is by, the only way that you can display that and show that is by the love that you show your brother. You understand? The love that you show your neighbor. Right? So, verse 28. Christ says, and he said unto him, thou hast answered right. This do, and thou shalt live. So, you know, what is it when a brother comes up to you and asks you a question that he already knows the answer to? What does that mean? You know what I'm saying? You know, a lot of us, we read the Bible, we see what it says, but what's really going on? We see what the scriptures say, but what's the problem? The problem is we don't want to do what it say. We want to talk about it, say it, because when it, you know, being on Clubhouse and talking about God and talking about what's righteousness and judging righteously, it sounds good. You know what I mean? And it sounds good to the hearers. But the scriptures say, be ye not hearers of the word, but doers of the word. Deceiving your own selves. A lot of us are deceived, man. We deceive ourselves when we think that the Lord want to hear us running our mouth. Now, Christ said that if you teach the word, right, and do the commandments, you shall be called great. But a lot of us aren't great. A lot of us are just talking. We're not doing. You understand? But Christ said, this do, and you shall live. See, lawyers like to talk. Scholars like to talk. You know what I'm saying? But in the ISUPK under Command General Yohana, how we're raised and trained, we're trained and raised to do, not just talk. Okay? Verse 29. But the lawyer, willing to justify himself, said unto Yahushua, and who is my neighbor? And, you know, this is a heavy thing right here. Who's my neighbor? Why would a lawyer who studies the Torah, who studies the law of Moses, have to ask that question? Because why? He was living in a diverse society. He was living in a Roman society. If you know anything about Rome, when Rome conquered different nations, they would, how do you call it? They would conscript. That word conscript is a word meaning they would bring in other ethnicities into their society, much like how America does, by setting them up into a class system. You understand? Where they could achieve a certain amount of prestige, not to the level that, you know what I'm saying, that the oppressor had it, but to where they could, you know, exercise some type of rule over other racial groups, right? And have some type of, you know, authority within the society or the government. America does the same thing. They allow blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians to be police officers. You know what I mean? But all you do is you end up creating a vibe to where you're hating your own people and your people hate you, because the police are associated with what? Police brutality and violence. You know what I'm saying? How many blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians have been murdered and killed unarmed? You understand? And then you think that you can join the police force and change the system from within, when it's systemic oppression, it's systemic racism, man. It's woven into the fabric of this society. You know what I'm saying? You're not gonna be able to go in there and pull a thread and unravel the whole tapestry of white supremacy. you're not that strong. You're not built like that. And you really don't even have the integrity to do it. Because once you get into the culture of an organization, it's natural for humans to adapt and acclimate to their environment. You understand? You being around, you work in the police force, and it's it's the fraternal order of police, and it's filled with oppressors, and you feel like as a black man or a Hispanic man or a Native Indian man, you're gonna go in there and be the equalizer. You're gonna change the environment. You can't, man. This is a culture that has been built since slavery. Speaking of the Irish and their indentured servitude, maybe the original English white people who had us as slaves on the plantation, or the Dutch, when the Irish came, they didn't look at them so-called as whites on their level. But you know what they did do? They made them overseers. They gave them the overseer badge, which turned to what? Them becoming from overseers to officers, man. They developed the first police force. Them and the Scottish. You understand? And the first people that they put their boot on and oppressed wasn't the people that gave them the ability, to become firefighters and form police departments. They oppressed our people, man. And that's what you see to this day. That's what you see to this day, man. You know what I'm saying? They became the overseers, man. Locking us up for, vagrant laws. After we're released from slavery, we don't have nowhere to live. We don't have any homes. But if you're found on the street, we can lock you up. And if we lock you up, you know what I'm saying, under the 13th Amendment, now we can put you back in these labor camps for 20 and 30 years to finish building up our heaven. The white man is the devil that the Bible speaks of, man. The oppressor is the devil that the Bible speaks of, man. You understand? The scriptures say it like this: that which the Lord has made crooked, you cannot make straight. You understand? And you trying to seek peace with him is going to be your destruction. You understand? Because through peace, he destroys many. You understand? This idea of diversity is the idea of peace, of us all coming together, kumbaya around the campfire. You understand? No, man, a line has to be drawn in the sand, man. We have to choose us. We have to love us, man. That's how they'll know that we're disciples of Christ. Christ don't know a lot of you niggas, man. He don't know a lot of us, because a lot of us hate each other, man. We think that we read these scriptures. We think that we got the light. And the scriptures say in 1 John that if you hate your brother, you're in darkness right now. You're in darkness right now. You know what I'm saying? Salakia. Let me get back to this. Verse 29, Luke chapter 10, verse 29, it reads, "But he, willing to justify himself, said unto Yahushua, and who is my neighbor?" What kind of nigga says that? A nigga who has a different agenda. A nigga who has, a brother who has ties to other nations. Who's my neighbor? You're a lawyer. You study the law. Well, let's go see what the law says. Let's go see what Moses put down, man. You know what I'm saying? Let's go to Leviticus chapter 19. And we'll start at verse 17. We're going to find out. Because see, anything that Christ quoted, he quoted from the law, man. Ain't nothing new. People want to say that Christ changed the law and Christ made new commandments. No, man, Christ was giving us, it seems new to you, but all Christ did was raise the bar. You understand? By revealing to our people the spirit of the law. Without Christ, none of you could keep the Torah. I know that hurts a lot of you Old Testament Negroes out there, you know what I'm saying? Who think that, that King David somehow is going to come back and rule the nation of Israel, and that, that Christ is, some type of pagan belief or something like that. I know it hurts you, man. You understand? But you can't keep Torah without Christ. Christ was the only brother that could show us how to keep the law, how the Most High wants us to keep it. You understand? Because too many of y'all try to use the law to hurt brothers and sisters. You want to use the law to oppress brothers and sisters. But the law was given to us to make us a nation, to be able to rule the other nations and to love each other, man. To show the other nations how they should function and operate and set order for the earth. You understand? but for us to love each other. It wasn't meant for us to use it to harm each other and and to lord it over each other as if that's why I can't stand this term, the elders. You know what I mean? Brothers talking about seniority and I've been in this truth for this amount of time. The Bible says we know that we're in the truth if we love one another. You're not in the truth because you say that you know that you're an Israelite. The Pharisees and the Sadducees knew that they were Israelites, but were they in the truth? Judas knew he was an Israelite. Judas knew Christ, but was he in the truth? Come on, man. You understand? Y'all, we have to examine ourselves. We have to examine ourselves to see if we're in the truth. And the only way to measure that is to be in the body. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of y'all are nobodies because you have nobody. You know what I'm saying? You individualites, I don't want to join no camp. Well, hey, you ain't got to worry about that. The ISUPK is not a camp. We're not a camp. We're the home of the truth. You understand? We're a school. We're not a camp. Camp is what you do when you go out to the streets to go teach people. You understand? When we go out to our people to give the Lord's judgment to the heathens and to fish our people out of the world, that's camp. The ISUPK is the Israelite school of universal practical knowledge. You understand? So you ain't got to join no camp, but you do need to find your way home. If the Lord wants you to find your way home. All right? Let's go to Leviticus chapter 19, man. We're going to find out what this lawyer who asked Christ willing to justify himself. Justify himself from what? He wanted to justify the hatred that he has for his people. That's what we do here in America. You know what I mean? We grow up in the hood. We hate where we live because we see the drugs, the prostitution, the murders, the violence. You know what I'm saying? And we want to get away. We want to get out. And that's a natural human tendency, right? We want to better ourselves. So, on the journey, we tell ourselves, I just want to better my life. So we put all of our energy into getting out of that condition, getting out of hell. Then we get out of hell and we start to look down on the people that's in hell, man. You understand? We get some level of success, some level of wealth. You know what I mean? We move up in this society, and now we look down on our people that are still stuck in that condition, man. You understand? And we have to justify it, right? Well, I worked hard. They ain't working hard enough. Now, imagine if Christ had that mindset. You Christians out there who want to talk about how people need to work hard and you identify with the talking points of our oppressor and say, we need to pull ourselves up by the bootstraps. There's nothing wrong with putting forth a diligent effort into bettering yourself and developing a career, pursuing higher education. There's nothing wrong with that. But what you don't do is lose your brotherhood, man. What if Christ had the mindset of how a lot of our people think? That once I get out of a situation, now I can talk about others in that situation, man, and look down on them and say, "Oh, you need to do this." Christ was without sin. All of us was in a state, in a condition of sin. None of us had it right. What if Christ had that mindset, man? That's not the spirit of Christ. Christ didn't look at his people and say, "Man, I ain't sinning, so why the hell y'all sinning? Y'all need to come up out of that. I ain't do it. How come you can't do it?" No, man. Christ died for his people. He laid down his life for his people. The scriptures say, "No greater love hath the man than he who would lay down his life for his friends." Christ had all the strength. Christ had the wealth. But the scriptures say that Christ was rich but became poor to make us rich. How many of our people are doing that? How many of our people are sacrificing themselves for the betterment of our community and our people? Y'all don't want to do that, man. Y'all want to have y'all heaven now, when Christ don't even have his kingdom right now. Christ conducted and committed the ultimate sacrifice as a king for his nation. Our king died to put us in a position of power. And what are we doing? We're gaining power, and then we're demeaning the people who have no power. That's not the spirit of Christ, man. Christ didn't identify with the rich. Christ identified with the poor, man. And he knew who his neighbor was. He didn't look at Pilate as his neighbor. understand? He didn't look at the Romans as his neighbors. A lot of y'all want to go ahead and quote about how Christ healed the daughter of the Syrophoenician woman, who, her daughter had the devil. And you look at that and say, well, Christ had love for the other nations too. Look, man, Christ called that woman a dog. Because that culturally, that's what we refer to them as dogs, as beasts, as four-footed beasts, man. You understand? Christ had love for his people, and he knew who his neighbor was. He said that the children first be filled. He made our people the priority. So when you read when he says, a new commandment I give you to love one another, you know he's not talking about loving all these other nations and loving everybody else, because when that woman came and asked for her daughter to be healed, he ignored her. And the disciples was like, yo, send her away. What kind of example? If Christ was about all nations, then why did the disciples have the mindset of sending this foreigner away, this heathen away, this white woman away? If Christ was teaching them to love everybody. And Christ ignored her. And then in his first response, which is Matthew 15:24, I'm not going to go there right now, but y'all should know it by now. You know what I mean? If you've been on the bottle for a while drinking this milk. I am not sent except unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. And where did Christ get this from, man? Because all Christ taught was the law and the prophets. I'm about to read that right now. Leviticus 19, chapter 17, man. All right, and it reads, thou shalt not hate thy brother in thy heart. You know what I'm saying? The Most High in Christ did not build us, did not make us to be haters. You know what I'm saying? We're not supposed to be haters, man. The original hater is the Caucasian. Esau. He was a hater. He hated on Jacob, man. You know what I'm saying? He didn't give a damn about the birthright. Jacob knew what that birthright meant. He knew what was in Abraham's chest. You understand? What was in Abraham's bosom? That promise of that covenant, man. Rulership, power, the kingdom. And he wanted what Abraham wanted. You know what I'm saying? What do you want? You understand? He wanted what Abraham wanted. Abraham got up and left his family, man. Left his family, left his people, left his country, because the Most High said, I'm going to show you something. I'm going to take you to a place and show you something, man. You got to think Abraham was surrounded by his father, and all his relatives were worshiping multiple gods. I believe they had gods for every day of the year. Gods to have babies, gods to have their crops grow, gods to be able to sell their merchandise and be successful for that year. They had gods for everything. And in the midst of this, Abraham is like, damn, man, who is the real power? I want to know the real God. And the Lord chose Abraham, man. And Abraham chose the Most High. He left his family. He left what he was comfortable with. He left what he knew, man, to find out the truth. Abraham wanted the truth. He wanted to know the truth of the true God. And he wanted to know the Most High. What do you want? You want a slot machine. You want to be able to pull the lever and the Most High give you 777s and a whole bunch of gold coins come out. You don't want the Most High for the Most High. You want the Most High for what you feel like the Most High can give you. And you learn that in the Christian church, man. Your Christian pastor taught you to look at the Most High for prosperity, not for righteousness and justice and, above all, vengeance. You praying for prosperity in this kingdom. Your prosperity in this kingdom will keep this kingdom going. When you should be praying for vengeance, for the Lord to destroy this place and to restore our people, man. Okay? Don't be a hater. Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thy heart. Thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor and not suffer sin upon him. Meaning that if your neighbor offends you or does something, man, you ain't supposed to suffer. You ain't supposed to suffer sin upon him. You're supposed to confront him about that, man, and rebuke him and correct him. Why? Because that's love. Correction is love. That's crazy, man. Now it's crazy, man. Love has been exchanged with hate, and hate has been exchanged with love. You know how I know the men above me in the ISUPK, and not even just the men above me, my peers. You understand? I know that they got love for me and brotherhood for me because why? They correct me. They check me. Black men, Hispanic men, Native Indian men check me. And that's a problem a lot of us have, man. We'll let the white man or President Obama talk about how black men need to start taking care of their kids and be in the homes. A dirty Hamite, a dirty Kenyan, whose father was never in slavery, who came straight from Kenya to Hawaii to America, never suffered nothing our people suffered, but because he has dark skin, feels like he can speak on the plight of black men and the destruction of the black family. You know, Salaki. But we'll listen to Obama. But we won't listen to Commander General Yohana, man, who the Lord chose. You understand? See, let me tell you something, man. That's the problem with our people, man. We don't want to follow who the Lord chose. We want to follow who we choose. And Christianity teaches you that too. You understand? Because see, what the Lord gave us, we don't want. We want who the heathens give us. The heathens give us Kamala Harris. The heathens give us Joe Biden. The heathens give us Donald Trump. And we're willing to put on MAGA hats, political campaign shirts, go Biden, go Obama. You know what I'm saying? Or whoever else, go DeSantis. I'm sure there's plenty of Cubans, you know what I'm saying, out there in Florida, wanting to rock out with Governor DeSantis, even though he helped to form the education body that developed the new curriculum for Florida, saying that slaves gain benefits of skills and trades from slavery, that they left out of slavery with benefits and new skills. But it's Cubans and Haitians and Dominicans in Florida probably who want to vote for DeSantis. Why? Because it's going to fill their pockets, man. Who is your neighbor? Who is your neighbor? Knowing who your neighbor is what's going to allow you to make the right decision when it comes to helping your people, man. Who you give your love to, who you give your support to, who you give the things that are profitable for us as a people. Who we give that to. We don't want to give it to ourselves. We want to give it to everybody else. Because if the white man, the oppressor, gives us a pat on the back, then we feel good about it. We think we've done something. Oh, the first jet pilot in the Air Force. The first African American jet pilot. The first African American to do this. The first African American to do this. Man, who gives a damn? Who gives a damn about the accolades and the awards of America, man? Who gives a damn? They don't give a damn about us, man. We go overseas in the Olympics and win all of their gold medals for them. We give them all of our strength and all of our abilities. For what? To come back and say what? Can you please treat me equally? When the Lord said that you're above them? We don't want what the Lord has given us. The Lord has given us supremacy. The Lord has given us a kingdom. It said, fear not, my children. It's your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. It gives the Most High pleasure to make you the rulers of this world. You talk about classism. It's going to be classism in the kingdom. You better believe that. And racism too. That's a fact. Salakia. The book of Leviticus chapter 19, verse 18. Thou shalt not avenge or bear any grudge against the children of thy people. That right there is letting you know. I'm going to read it again. Thou shalt not avenge nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people, but thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. I am the Lord. So who is the neighbor that you are to love as yourself? This lawyer approaches Christ and asks him, who is my neighbor? When in the law of Moses, it was clear who your neighbor was. Your neighbor isn't the person that's on your block who has the single family home next to you that you see out your when you head out to work in the morning and go to your driveway and get in your car and you see them with their Starbucks or cup of coffee leaving to go to work too. That's not your neighbor. Your neighbor is the children of your people. That's who you're supposed to love as yourself. But guess what? Blacks, Hispanics, Native Indians, we don't even love ourselves, man. The reason why you hate your brother is because you hate yourself. You hate niggers, spicks, and savages. You hate so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, man. Why? Because your oppressor hates them. And so why do you hate what your oppressors hate? Because you are of your father, the devil. And he was a murderer from the beginning, and his lust you will fulfill. Because we know that if you hate your brother, you are what? You're a murderer, man. You're a murderer. You're of your father, the devil, man. Whenever you hear our people, these clubhouse rooms, on these news programs, these podcasts, and they're utilizing the same talking points that our oppressors using, it's because they are of their father, the devil. They have embraced diversity to their own destruction. Let's get back to Luke 10. All right. You know what I'm saying? The cure for hatred, the hatred of our people, is compassion, man. That's the cure, man. It's to first love yourself. And by that I mean loving the fact that the Lord chose you. The Lord didn't have to choose us. Had the Lord chose the Asians, man, look, man, it'd be red dragons and General Soul's instead of fried chicken that we love. It'd be General Soul's chicken every day, man. Had you chose the goddamn Chinese, man, they would have accepted it and did whatever he said to be on top. You understand? But we the only people that don't want to take the love of the Most High and take the rulership in the kingdom that he's offering us. We want to give it to everybody else, man. We want to give it to everybody else. Chapter 10, verse 29. But he, willing to justify himself, said unto Yahushua, and who is my neighbor? Verse 30. And Jesus answering said, a certain man went down from Jerusalem to Jericho and fell among thieves, which stripped him of his raiment and wounded him and departed, leaving him half dead. So Christ begins to tell this parable, this story of a man that was traveling from Jerusalem to Jericho. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what the distance is from Jerusalem to Jericho. Maybe somebody in the audience in the chat can look that up. But it was a journey. And he fell among thieves, man. Didn't blacks, Hispanics, Native Indians fall among thieves? Didn't we fall among thieves that stripped us of our culture? That left us beaten and destroyed and bruised? With the lack of knowledge of ourselves and our God? Huh? That set themselves up in our minds as God? Huh? Haven't we fallen among thieves? Let's read. And by chance, there came down a certain priest that way. And when he saw him, he passed by on the other side. See, that's heavy, man. Because see, to be a priest at this time, anybody just couldn't be a priest. Your dad had to be a priest. You had to be of the bloodline to be a priest. You understand? You couldn't just say, I want to be a priest. You know what I mean? Now we're under the order of Melchizedek, where the priesthood is by oath. And it's open to all the tribes. You know what I'm saying? If you want to serve the Most High, and the only way that you can serve the Most High is in the ISUPK under Command General Yohana, you understand? The Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge start out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York. And to you other Israelite groups, if it hurts your feelings, too bad. You know what I mean? You're not serving the Most High if you're not in the ISUPK. Because to serve the Most High, to be in the truth, you have to keep the law, statutes, and commandments, and you have to be serving under the man who the Lord chose, and the man whom the Lord chose is Command General Yohana, man. That's without a doubt. I mean, his pedigree is blameless and unstained. You can't challenge it. You understand? It's without blemish or spot. Okay? But if you're going to be a priest, At this time, you had to be a son of Aaron. But that meant that you were educated, that you knew the letters, that you were studied. And to be a priest meant you were a doctor, you were a judge, you were the police. You were the diagnoser of illnesses and ailments. And your job was to teach the people and to hold many offices. You understand? Your job was the Bible says that the lips of a priest should keep knowledge. The priest was the ones that, you know, that were there to better the community. If people lack knowledge or understanding, he was there to give judgment and to help. But what happens when we get our bachelor degrees, our associate's degrees, our master degrees, our PhDs? You know what I'm saying? That's the equivalent of what a priest was. He had a degree in the knowledge of God. What does the knowledge of God mean if you're not using it for the benefit and the welfare of your people? You just what our people are today in these Christian churches, man. You're just a deacon. You're just a bishop. You're just a pastor. You're just a wolf in sheep's clothing, man. You're a hireling. A hireling, when he sees the wolf, he flees. Why? Because he didn't got no love for the sheep. Commander Johanna has us out there by command, under the command of Christ, to be out there in them corners teaching our people in whatever condition or weather or circumstance, man. You understand? To help our people, to feed our people, to clothe our people, to visit our people in prisons, in the hospitals. You know how many, listen, man, I'm in Killeen, Texas. You know how many hospital bills Commander Johanna has paid for our people in this zone in Texas? And never asked for the money back. That's the type of leader that I follow. What is your leader doing? What's your leader doing, man? You understand? What's your leader doing, man? The cure for diversity is the compassion of blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians towards each other, man. That those who have strength give that strength to the weak and build them up. You understand? It's compassion. But this priest saw him and he walked by. Christ is giving this parable to help this lawyer who knows the answer. He knows what the answer is, but he want to justify himself. It's a lot of our people on Clubhouse who want to justify themselves on who is my neighbor. Because you feel like Christ is going to save the heathens. It's in the scriptures. It's in the scriptures. I mean, they can't get around the scripture. It says it right there, the heathen. Brother, you a heathen. You hating your people, you're a heathen. You not wanting to listen, you not wanting to gain your brother and take heed to the council, to the church. We regard you as a heathen. That's what Christ said, regard him as a heathen. If he won't hear the council, he won't hear the two or three that are gathered, he won't hear his brother to gain his brother, then regard him as a heathen. Yeah, listen, you heathens. He's talking to our people, man. Because why? We have been mingled amongst the heathen and learned their ways. You got Gentiles in the flesh. You got heathens in the flesh. And then you got heathens in the spirit, man. A lot of us on Clubhouse are heathens in the spirit. We want to ask who is our neighbor. You want to make everybody your neighbor. When the Lord said, it's the children of thy people, man. The Lord don't change. Niggas do. Niggas switch up all the time. They change. And now you're trying to change what the Lord said. You want to add to what the Lord said because you're not in the spirit. Let's keep reading. Verse 32. And likewise, a Levite, a so-called Haitian, when he was at the place, came and looked on him and passed by the other side. We want to get involved in every other controversy and conflict of America or whatever nation we're living in. We want to involve ourselves in their politics, involve ourselves in their social programs, but we don't want to involve ourselves with the hurt of our own people, man. And ISUPK and the Commander Johanna, we're taught to heal the hurt of our people. We don't walk by somebody that is injured in the street and just walk by them and leave them to their own devices, man. That's not the spirit of Christ. A lot of our people are damaged and hurt, not just physically, but spiritually, man. And that's why we're out here, man. We're out here trying to give you the medicine, man, which is what? Compassion. That's what heals our people. Compassion. Verse 33. But a certain Samaritan, he journeyed, came where he was, and when he saw him, he had compassion on him, man. Now you say, oh, this is a Samaritan. This ain't an Israelite. No, this is an Israelite living in Samaria. A lot of y'all get confused with that, man. You know what I'm saying? You want to make Ruth, our sister, you want to make her a Chinese woman. Instead of a so-called black, Hispanic, or Native Indian, you want to make her a Chinese woman, man. You know what I mean? Because it called her a Moabitess. You know what I mean? I guess Elijah he wasn't an Israelite. He was a Tishbite. He wasn't an Israelite. People were named after the places that they lived in. You understand? If you lived in a certain area, you were called of that area. Like how they call you Mexican. They call you Dominican. They call you Puerto Rican. They call you El Salvadorian, Ecuadorian, Guatemalan, Venezuelan, Argentinian, Chilean. You know what I'm saying? American, Jamaican. You know what I mean? West Indian, Samaritan. But what are we really? Israelites. Don't be simple, man. A lot of us are simple. But all we got to do is be practical, man. Utilize practical knowledge. You understand? Let's keep reading. But a certain Samaritan, as he journeyed, came where he was, and when he saw him, the man that fell amongst thieves, that was beaten and left for dead, he had compassion on him, man. Let's keep reading. And he went to him and bound up his wounds. See, a lot of our people, we're not binding up our wounds, we're opening wounds and making new injuries and making new wounds. You understand? We want to look at the victims and blame the victims and shame the victims of oppression and white supremacy, instead of looking at the perpetrator of the crime, the person who committed the atrocity. Instead of directing our energy towards them and crying out for justice against them, and then taking the victim and giving them healing. You know what I'm saying? That's why that's why General Mahayman, Captain Tazariak, and others who have been chosen in the counseling department, they heal our people. Those who have been molested, raped, you know what I'm saying? Been a part of gang violence, whether they perpetrated or were the victims of it, man. Give counsel to heal our people. You know what I'm saying? The ISUPK has a medic department, man. When we're at camp, we have medical supplies. So if our people are out there in the streets who have been hurt or damaged, we have the ability to give them aid. That's the spirit of Christ. But y'all love to come on Clubhouse, you know what I mean, for what, I mean, I don't know what you think that you're achieving. The scriptures say, why do you seek to follow men who receive honor from other men? That's all Clubhouse is. Y'all trying to get honor from, likes and, ooh, man, he's ill with the scriptures. Y'all are like, look, man, y'all are like children in the sandbox. It's like playground stuff, man. It's real work to be done. Don't nobody give a damn if you was a shooter, if you was in the streets with all these felony charges. That don't give you no clout in the kingdom. You understand? I don't give a damn if you was the top drug dealer, or you feel like you the best scholar and have all knowledge of these different religious books. I don't give a damn about that. I want to know what the hell you're doing for your people. I want to know what you're doing for your brothers and your sisters, man, that are hurting, man. That's what Christ care about. When you stand before the throne of Christ, he ain't finna ask you about how many precepts that you knew, man. Oh, go to the scriptures, deal with the scriptures. How about you deal with some brotherhood, man? You ain't got, your goddamn seniority don't mean a goddamn thing if you ain't got no brotherhood. The seniority in the ISUPK is based on brotherhood. That's why Commander General Yohana is at the top, because he had the most brotherhood for our people, man. When everybody left him and abandoned him, he showed brotherhood, man. and held onto his sword that this truth could get out and change the lives of blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, man. You ain't getting no goddamn seniority or respect from us because you said you've been in the truth for over 20 years. I don't give a goddamn. You tying your Michi for 20 years. That don't mean a goddamn thing to me. I want to see what have you done lately? What have you done? Where's your record? What's your pedigree of brotherhood, man, in the nation? Where are the witnesses and the people whose lives you have changed? Let them come forth, man. Because in the UPK, we all witnesses to the brotherhood and the love of Command General Yohana and all the men that he raised up under him, man. What you got? Where's your resume at, man? Your CS, whatever that's called, Salaki. Let me keep reading, man. Verse 34. And went to him and bound up his wounds, pouring in oil and wine. Yeah, that's spiritual right there. And set him on his own beast. You know what I'm saying? He put oil on his wounds, bound him up, gave him some wine. You know what I'm saying? They give him some, you know what I mean, some like, you know, like to numb the pain that he was dealing with. You know what I mean? I don't know if they had morphine back then, but he gave him some wine to drink, man, to make him feel better. You know what I'm saying? And brought him and put him on his own beast. Drove him in his car. We drive by our people all day long in the streets, man, and don't give a damn about them. Christ is watching that. You know, you talk about the Most High sees everything. Yeah, he sees everything. Why? Because the angels, the Elohim, are watching everything, and they're recording everything that you're doing. But listen, you think the angels are recording you on Clubhouse running your mouth. Then they see you get off of Clubhouse, they see you get off of Facebook, and you ain't doing a goddamn thing for your people. That's getting written in their books too. Resumes before Christ, so when Christ show up, perchance he have mercy on us and don't destroy us, man. Salakia set him on his own beast and brought him to an inn and took care of him. And on the morrow, when he departed, he took out 2 pence and gave them to the host, or the owner of the hotel, and said unto him, take care of him, and whatsoever thou spendest more, when I come again, I will repay thee. Because he had things to take care of. He was on a journey. He had business that he had to attend to, but his business didn't stop him from helping his brother. And in America, man, we try to pursue business, be entrepreneurs, and chase the bag, but we chasing the bag and we stepping over our brother, man. We chasing the bag and we looking over our sister that's been injured and harmed. There's nothing wrong with you pursuing your career, man, but take the time to help your brother. A lot of times we on these corners, man, and our people and these other nations want to say, you know, go get a job. You ain't got no job? Listen, man, we have jobs. We have careers, but it don't stop us from taking the time to help our people, man. We don't put our own personal success over the welfare of our nation. That's how we're raised under Command General Yohana in the ISUPK. All right. Verse 36, Yahushua asked the lawyer, which now of these 3 thinkest thou was a neighbor unto him that fell among thieves? Verse 37, and he said, he that showed mercy on him. Then said Jesus unto him, go and do, not say, not talk, go and do likewise, man. And that's what I'm saying to you today in this brotherhood class, man. You know what I mean? Go and do likewise, man. You see your people out there suffering, don't run your mouth about the goddamn. Listen, man, scriptures ain't gonna fix a person that's hungry. Scriptures ain't gonna put clothes on nobody's back. The scriptures is fine. But the thing that helps our people is the work. It's work to be done, man. The harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few. You know what I'm saying? Brothers that's willing to put this work in, man. So if you a brother, if you a black, Hispanic, Native Indian that wants to help your people, that loves your people, that wants to follow Christ, to be a disciple of Christ and follow Christ, then come into the ISUPK, man. You know what I'm saying? To the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, getting all black, come to class and learn brotherhood. You know what I'm saying? These other Israelite groups, they got to break down for everything. They got to break down for the Abraham sin. They got a breakdown about a breakdown about the Gentiles and salvation. But where's your breakdown on brotherhood at? I don't never hear no rules on Clubhouse about brotherhood, man. Let me see some of that. Because that's what Christ died for, man. Christ died for brotherhood. He ain't died for these scriptorial debates, man. You understand? The truth, how we know that we're in the truth, is if we love the brethren. That's how we know we're in the truth, man. And ISUPK is the home of the truth. Y'all niggas need to come home. And with that, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to go ahead and close out the class. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Let me go ahead and do the Lord's Prayer. Hebrew, Abanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Quadash, Hayah, Shemka, Yahweh, Malak Taba'ah, Ratazayaka, Hayah, Aisha, Ba'arataza, Hawa, Hayah, Bashamayim, Nathamanawa, Lakam, Paul, Yawam, Wasalak Yanawa, Kabawath Yanawa, Kasalaknawa, Kabawath Yanawa, Wala'ah, Taba'ah Yanawa, Banasaya 1, Abal, Hawashayanawa, Mayan, Ra'ah, Kaya, Laka, Hamalakwa, Waha Allah, Waha Thapara, La'awalamyum, Aman, in the English, Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, Yahweh, thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. So be it. We'll go ahead and give a courtesy salute to the Akim, to the men of Israel, Amadim Shabbat, Imajim, Barak, Yahal Bashem, Yahal Shah Barakatah. Yazamatah, Sar, turn, face the sisters. Men of Israel, Amadim Shabbat, Imajim, Barak, Yahal Shemal Atham Bashem, Yahal Shah. Yazamatah, class dismissed.